Disintermediating venture capital, a protocol for identifying, vetting, and scaling opportunity. Introduction. Venture capital has long served as the gateway between raw ideas and real-world execution. But the model is flawed. It is centralized, exclusionary, and deeply front-loaded, requiring founders to chase capital before their ideas have had a chance to mature. The result is a distorted ecosystem where capital dictates direction, gatekeepers shape opportunity, and promising ideas are often left unrealized, not for lack of merit but for lack of access. Meanwhile, the world is brimming with untapped potential. Idle capital searching for yield, domain experts eager to contribute, and innovators scattered across every region and industry. What's missing isn't intelligence or ambition. It's a better protocol for signaling opportunity. This exposition outlines a new approach, one that disintermediates traditional venture capital by creating a decentralized mechanism for identifying, vetting, and scaling opportunity. Using tools like peer review, on-chain reputation, and tokenized incentives, we propose a system where ideas earn attention through credibility, not charisma, and where capital flows to validated blueprints, not just well-networked founders. Section 2, Core Thesis. At the heart of this model lies a simple but transformative truth. Momentum attracts capital, not the other way around. The traditional model expects founders to secure funding first, to raise a round before proving much of anything. But inverting this sequence unlocks a more organic and scalable approach. Build early momentum through community, peer review, and domain validation. Use that momentum to create gravitational pull of talent, attention, and eventually capital. Signal that the opportunity is credible, vetted, and worthy of resources. By replacing speculative pitches with structured credibility, we create a signal-rich environment where capital no longer plays gatekeeper. It becomes the response to validated opportunity. This is not just a theory, it's the groundwork for a protocol, a decentralized modular path from idea to manifestation. Section 3, the concept maturity stack. To replace the venture capital funnel, we must first replace its scaffolding. Instead of pitch decks and warm intros, this system uses an open access maturity ladder called the concept maturity stack, designed to move ideas from raw sparks to structured, investment-ready blueprints. Each tier of the stack acts as a filtering layer. It encourages refinement, attracts collaboration, and gradually builds credibility without requiring upfront capital. Tier 1, raw ideas. These are speculative sparks, thoughts, sketches, or questions. At this stage, the value lies in originality and intuition, not structure. They're made public to attract interest, feedback, and potential collaborators. Many will fade here, and that's okay. Tier 2, emerging concepts. Ideas in this tier have gained some attention or community interest. The originator or contributors have begun to clarify the opportunity, define the potential use case, and test for early coherence. This is where peer review starts to surface. Tier 3, semi-structured proposals. Concepts now have a visible architecture. Use cases are specified. Risks are acknowledged. Rough feasibility assessments may be included. Reviewers with domain expertise begin validating the idea's assumptions, viability, and relevance. Tier 4, structured blueprints. This is where the idea becomes a candidate for manifestation. It has passed open review, been stress-tested through bug bounties or challenge rounds, and refined into a publishable structure. Tokenization becomes possible here. From this point, capital formation via crowdfunding, community staking, or even VC participation can be triggered. The concept maturity stack allows ideas to rise on their merits. It replaces charisma with clarity and replaces exclusivity with structured credibility. And it gives early contributors, validators, and collaborators a meaningful stake in the outcome. Section 4, the role of reputation and peer review. If capital is to follow credibility, then credibility itself must become measurable, transparent, and trustable. That's the purpose of the peer review layer and the reputation architecture that supports it. In this model, peer review isn't a bureaucratic hurdle. It's the foundation of legitimacy. Every blueprint, as it matures up the stack, is subject to review by a wide and decentralized network of domain experts, builders, economists, designers, ethicists, or even generalists with a proven record of insight. The broader and more credible the review base, the more gravitational pull the idea develops. To prevent gaming, this process is backed by on-chain reputation. Here's how it works. Reviewers stake their identity. not necessarily their real-world name, but a verifiable, persistent on-chain identity tied to their contributions, validations, and domain signals. Reputation is earned through accurate reviews, timely challenges, successful blueprint contributions, and constructive dispute resolution. Reputation decays over time unless maintained. This dynamic protects the system from stagnation and forces participants to stay engaged and up to date. Reputation is transferable across ideas, but contextual to domain. A reviewer with deep credibility in supply chains may have limited influence in gaming or biotech. This architecture ensures that peer review becomes a high-signal, low-friction system. It filters out noise without centralizing control, and it rewards thoughtful participation with social capital, and eventually financial capital as well. Importantly, peer review also serves a second purpose: talent discovery. Those who review best are often those who build best. And when an idea reaches third base, the talent pool needed to bring it to life has already revealed itself through prior participation. Section 5, tokenization as incentive and coordination layer. Once a blueprint reaches a certain level of maturity, typically Tier 3 or Tier 4 in the concept maturity stack, it becomes eligible for tokenization. This is not just a funding mechanism. It's a coordination tool, a trust artifact, and a memory capsule for the blueprint's social journey. Tokenization enables three key functions. 1. Incentivizing participation. Tokens can be distributed to early contributors, peer reviewers, bug bounty participants, or signal boosters, anyone who meaningfully helped the blueprint mature. This creates a financial layer to complement the reputational one. To discourage extractive or short-term participation, cliffing or vesting periods can be applied, so tokens are only redeemable after sustained involvement. Contributions may be weighted by tier, timing, or accuracy, adding fairness and depth to the distribution model. 2. Embedding provenance and attribution. Each blueprint's token, whether fungible or NFT-based, captures its unique fingerprint: authorship, revisions, review history, and community interaction. This becomes an open record, proof of both creative origin and collective refinement. This also supports remix culture. Forked or localized versions of a blueprint can optionally tribute a share of tokens back to the original idea as a gesture of goodwill. It's not enforced, but in an ecosystem that values integrity, it becomes a signal of alignment. 3. Bootstrapping capital formation. A tokenized blueprint can attract capital before legal entities are formed or products are built. Whether through community crowdfunding, pre-allocation, staking, or DAO-led grants, early capital can flow based on public credibility, not private access. And crucially, this reverses the traditional model. You no longer need capital to start building. You build momentum to earn capital. Tokens serve as the connective tissue between signal and capital, between idea and instantiation. And by making every contributor a stakeholder, they turn idea development into a participatory economy. This content is brought to you by Bobby Gigs. Promote your brand here and reach a wide audience across platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Follow the links in the description to get started. Section 6, capital formation at third base. In the traditional venture model, capital comes first, and everything else bends around it. In this protocol, capital comes last, after an idea has proven its weight through validation, reputation, and community momentum. This stage, third base, marks the moment where the blueprint has passed through multiple tiers of refinement, accumulated peer reviews from a credible, diverse pool, been stress-tested through challenges and bounties, gained tokenized support from contributors, validators, or early believers. At this point, the idea signals readiness, not just to be built, but to be backed. And it does so in a high-signal environment, where investors no longer rely on private pitch meetings, but on transparent public signals that de-risk the opportunity. There are multiple pathways to capital formation from this stage: on-chain crowdfunding or staking, community-driven capital, guild-based patronage or DOs, ecosystem-driven capital, accredited or institutional investors, legacy capital adapting to a new flow, revenue share or ownership mechanisms, non-dilutive or cooperative models. But here's the key. Capital now follows gravity. It flows to what has already proven traction, alignment, and validation. This is how the power dynamic shifts. The blueprint doesn't ask for funding. It pulls it in. Venture capital becomes optional, not obsolete, but transformed. Instead of gatekeeping, capital becomes responsive, reactive, and aligned. And the upside? Investors aren't just making bets in the dark. They're funding ideas with visible social proof, technical feasibility, and early community momentum. This shrinks the downside risk while preserving massive upside potential. Section 7, Cultural Layer: Individuals, Guilds, and the New Workshop Model. This protocol doesn't just engineer trust and capital, it revives culture. The act of idea creation, refinement, and manifestation becomes embedded in identity, belonging, and reputation. In this world, blueprints are not just technical artifacts, they are cultural outputs. There are two primary archetypes at the heart of this creative economy. 1. The independent creator. These are individuals, tinkerers, thinkers, builders, who bring originality and focus. They may not have resources or a team, but they have clarity. The protocol gives them a path to move ideas up the maturity stack without begging for capital or access. Their reward is visibility, ownership, and the ability to attract aligned collaborators as their blueprint gains traction. 2. The guild or house. These are collectives with a shared reputation and creative fingerprint, like the Renaissance workshops, record labels, or contemporary DAOs. Some focus on specific verticals, e.g., climate tech, crypto gaming, fintech. Others cultivate a signature aesthetic or methodology. Guilds launch blueprints, just like individuals do. Guild membership becomes a reputational layer, a signal of quality, vibe, or edge. Guild brands, like House Paris or Yield Guild, become magnets for collaborators, capital, and contributors. The protocol doesn't privilege one over the other. It allows both archetypes to coexist and cross-pollinate. Individuals may join guilds. Guilds may incubate solo creators. What matters is output and the gravitational pull that output generates. And here's the magic. Reviewers, contributors, and funders don't just back ideas. They back identities, tribes, and stories. This creates an ecosystem where creation isn't anonymous. It's alive, with texture, taste, and culture. Section 8, Forking, Remixing, and Global Localization. In a truly open ecosystem, no idea remains static. Just as code can be forked and remixed, so too can blueprints. The protocol embraces this reality, not as a threat to originality, but as a mechanism for global scalability. Here's how it works. Open source by default, every blueprint is published on-chain as a public good. That means any community, team, or individual can fork a blueprint and adapt it to their local context, whether that's based on geography, culture, infrastructure, regulation, or values. For example, a fintech protocol developed for Latin America could be localized for Southeast Asia. An agricultural innovation designed in Kenya could be repurposed in rural India. A game concept born in South Korea might be forked into a version for diaspora communities in Europe. This forking process isn't seen as dilution, it's a natural part of the blueprint lifecycle. Attribution without enforcement. Remixers are not obligated to send value back to the original. But the system is designed to reward goodwill. Tokenized blueprints carry attribution metadata, documenting origin, evolution, and contribution trees. Forkers can voluntarily tribute a share of their tokens back to the original creators or guild. Such gestures build social capital, strengthen alliances, and attract community respect. This creates a culture of open remixing with reputational ethics, where ideas are free, but recognition travels with them. Templates and translation layers. As the ecosystem grows, common blueprint formats, templates, and toolkits will emerge to help ideas scale more easily across boundaries. These could include modular blueprint components, local context tagging, infrastructure, cultural fit, regulatory risk, recommended localization guides, or soft forks. The goal: make it easy for anyone anywhere to adapt a great idea without starting from scratch, while still preserving connection to its origin. In this way, the protocol becomes not just a pipeline for capital, but a network for global innovation transfer. Section 9. Strategic implications. The architecture described so far is not just a system for launching ideas. It's a full spectrum shift in how we think about capital formation, talent discovery, and early-stage innovation. Below are the core strategic implications for those operating within or alongside this protocol. 1. Capital becomes reactive, not prescriptive. In the traditional model, capital dictates direction. It defines terms, sets valuations, selects winners, and compresses timelines. In this new model, capital becomes responsive, drawn in by signal, not story. It flows where reputation, validation, and community momentum already exist. This leads to lower failure rates, more decentralized access to funding, reduce dependence on elite networks or speculative narratives. 2. A new talent market emerges. Peer review is not just about vetting ideas, it also surfaces talent. The very process of validating blueprints reveals who understands what, who contributes meaningfully, and who should be hired when the idea enters execution mode. This creates a review to build pipeline where top validators naturally become top contractors, collaborators, or team members. 3. Venture capital is unbundled. VC in this context is not eliminated, it is disintermediated and recontextualized. The functions of VC, deal sourcing, due diligence, signal amplification, advisory are now distributed across peer reviewers, due diligence, community validators, signal, token holders, skin in the game, on-chain blueprints, public deal flow. VCs are welcome to play, but on the protocol's terms, not their own. They enter at third base, not inning one. 4. Idea markets become legible and scalable. With structured blueprints, tokenized incentives, and open source remixing, the early stage idea economy becomes visible, searchable, and composable. Just as GitHub transforms software collaboration, this protocol transforms blueprint collaboration across domains, geographies, and cultures. This accelerates innovation, reduces duplication, and lets humanity experiment at scale. Conclusion. What begins as a critique of venture capital becomes something much larger, a blueprint for liberating innovation itself. By reversing the traditional sequence, signal first, capital second, we unlock a radically more inclusive, resilient, and efficient model for building the future. No longer do ideas need to contort themselves to appeal to gatekeepers. No longer must capital be begged for in the absence of proof. Instead, ideas rise or fall on their merit, their credibility, and the strength of the community that surrounds them. The protocol outlined here is not just about disintermediation. It is about reorientation. From pitching to proving, from exclusivity to openness, from gatekeeping to gravity, from capital dictating outcomes to capital responding to validated signals. Reputation, peer review, tokenized incentives, and open blueprints form the infrastructure of a new innovation economy, one where momentum is the message. As the world drowns in idle capital and shallow speculation, this protocol offers an alternative. A signal-rich system for identifying, vetting, and scaling opportunity, not in a boardroom, but on a ledger, in the open, at scale. This is how we build a world where ideas chase no one, and capital learns how to listen.